the trouble in the world, my friends. All the trouble in the world. Let me see if I can find my face. Just gotta reach back here, touch my Winamp in a special place, and... okay, hang on. I gotta sneeze. Oh. Hello. Hi, Internet. Please ignore all the weird sounds around me. There are things going on around me that I don't want to explain, but probably that have something to do with that snake. Hey, everyone. It's a free-for-all. I hope you enjoyed all that free public domain music I totally didn't pay for. Let's see if I can figure out where I hid the chat from myself. You all should be able to see it. If you can't see the chat, please let me know. If you can't see me, you're better off for it. Don't let me know. If the audio is stuttering, please let me know, because I've had that problem, this stupid Elgato. And guess what? I didn't silence the phone. So, what a smart boy I am. Hang on a second. I want to see if I can show you guys something really fun. Maybe. You probably won't be able to see it, though. But I'll try. So, yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my disaster of a desk. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And look at this. There's a level of desperation here that is pretty rare. Okay. So, talk to me. Tell me what you want to know. This is not love line. This is hate line. It's not that we discuss hating things. It's that I just want to be a contrarian for no good reason. Cute camera? Which one? This one? I love talking about cameras. This could easily become a camera discussion. Be careful. Cute is it the red ring? I love the red ring. It's the opposite of an Xbox. Let's not talk about that. I did my time. Those stupid red rings of death. How do you think I learned to heat gun things poorly? Alright, so I see that we have some people. Just to warn you all, I'm still not great at the live streaming thing, and I'm looking at, there's like 7 people here, according to YouTube, but YouTube lies to me. For some reason, I'm being faced with an interdimensional lizard as well, so there's that. There's about a 20-second delay on the live stream as usual. I won't read what you wrote back to you until 20 seconds later. So I'll answer any questions that you have. Just generally, if you're bored, I'm here to entertain, be it with technical questions or otherwise. Please ignore my apple juice. Apple juice comes in a square bottle. Did you know that? Because it does now. Okay. So, let's see. First of all, I don't know how you feel about YouTube Shorts, but I apologize for all the YouTube Shorts, as they are the quickest way for me to get a small thought out, and they drag other people in kicking and screaming to watch my otherwise yawn-worthy content. Let's see what you got. Have a scroll up on the pre-webcam comments. Hey, yeah, I'll do that. Hello, Mr. Bruchon. Yeah, they ruined my name in school. It was horror. Why couldn't I just be called Smith? Let's see. What do you want to know? The sim... See, now, a removable back cover on phones would be very nice. I have my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat ideas about why you can't remove the back of your phone, because it doesn't make it any thinner to not be able to remove it. I think they just don't want people being able to buy new batteries, so they have to buy a new phone sooner. Let's see. Sacred Geek, I don't know where you went, Sacred Geek, but you should come back. I'm back, Sacred Geek. Let's see. Someone's got a big bottle of Russian Standard vodka. I've got Jack Daniels that sat on a shelf for a long time, and it's Jack Daniels. I don't know what else to say. It's just Jack Daniels. The stuff doesn't go away. You could probably peel paint off a car with it if you got bored. Let's see. Do I think VMware being bought is... I don't know anything about VMware. To be perfectly honest, I don't use it. The last time I touched a VMware server, I replaced it. because I'm not super interested in virtualization. I know that some people love it. I don't really like it. It's got its value, but it doesn't hold any value to me. If I need another machine, I want bare metal real hardware that runs at maximum speed. I get the value of virtualization. It's just not something I ever need. I nuked that last VMware server, and that's a fun little story. If you want to hear a story, I've got a story. I have to keep the details anonymous, but a few weeks ago, there was a company in town, and they didn't give me fizzy water. There was a company in town who they had this setup that was costing them several thousand a month by the time they got done getting all the billing for updates of the system and such from this weird MSP. And it was, the numbers they were telling me that they were paying for what they had going on were astonishing. In-house mail serving? Who does that? Who does that anymore? Like, the way mail is so just, running a mail server is the most frustrating thing on the planet right now with all the anti-spam stuff. I wouldn't want to deal with that. Let a mail provider deal with that. They were already paying for one. They didn't realize that they were already paying for one. These other guys duped them into switching to a mail provider that the other guys controlled. They gave them a $12,000 HP ProLiant server. This is a 5-person office with a couple of Windows CE machines out in the field that have to access an FTP folder on the server. Yeah, that's it. It's so complicated. Oh my God. Just, no. It was absolutely absurd. They had, like, I don't even know what they had running because this other company had them completely locked out of their own computers. So they couldn't even look at their server, which was running VMware. And there was a whole other server that was being used to back up the whole mess because they had cellular internet. 2 cellular internet connections. Oh my God, it was a mess. It was pretty terrible. Anyway, 5 people. Absolutely insane the way that this was set up. We are literally dealing with people who just do email and have some files stored in a central place. So what I ended up doing was taking their $12,000 server completely out. They don't need it. They don't need that crazy server. They don't need any of that out-of-band management stuff. They can literally walk over to the machine and flip a switch. They can call me and have me butt in office in 20 minutes if there's a problem. I can remote into it if it's not dead. But yeah, it was ridiculous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in such a small office. Threw the $12,000 server away, nuked it, wiped the data, wiped it nicely, had them get rid of it. Now, what are they going to do for central storage? What are they going to do for a server, for the FTP, for the local storage? Well, you remember the local thing that backed up the VMware thing? Well, I looked it over, and it was a backup appliance. It was really just a PC in a custom RAID case. It was a super micro board. It was just a off-the-shelf parts PC. So that became their new server. I just reused what was in that. That's their new server. Oh my God. And it's not even a Windows server. It's Windows 10 Pro. Oh, I've committed a grave mistake with Windows 10 Pro as a server. Are you crazy? No sane business would run Windows 10 Pro as a server, except this office is so small, the people have been there so long, they don't have to hire anybody in the office. They're practically a family. They don't need all that crap. So I took all that crap away. I spent one day there, one single day, about 10 hours. By the time I was done, that was just, all the problems were gone. I think I did one follow-up, and that's because the remote guy, he needed help getting the FTP stuff set up remotely so he could shuffle some documents back and forth. But oh my God, it was so difficult. Okay, yeah, someone noticed I said Windows CE. I'm sorry. I should have put a trigger warning on that, shouldn't I? Okay, let's see. VMware. Yeah, all that came from VMware. Let's see. And, VMware, why wouldn't you just use KVM on Linux anyway? I mean, Linux. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. I meant to say Linux, not Linux. Let's see. You had your thoughts about Windows 11 smartphones with Android. I like them when I liked them more before. I like the fact you can sideload. I don't like the fact that you can't root them half the time now. It used to be that you could root Android devices, but now you kind of can't. And I know that there are quite a few you can, but the one that I just shut off earlier, I can't root it. I looked it up. There's no way to do it. And it's probably because it's just some budget phone on a third-rate carrier. I don't pay for an insane contract and a flagship phone, because flagship phones are trash. So you can't really root it and put a custom ROM and all that. And frankly, I think Google kind of wants it that way. I don't remember who it was. I'd have to look it up. In fact, if you give me just a split second, I'm going to look it up real quick, and I hope I just didn't click the wrong tab. Please don't read what I'm doing in the reflection of my glasses. That would be naughty. Yeah, discontinued. Yep, I know that. Who bought them? I forgot who bought them. They got venture funding, and I don't remember. Does anybody here remember who bought CyanogenMod? Because that was the thing that I used. Became Lineage OS, but for me that kind of spelled the end. What on earth is this browser doing? Stop being stupid. Go back to the panel. Thank you very much. Okay. So, CyanogenMod, back when I had the original Android phone, the HTC Dream, or the T-Mobile G1 in my case. I had the original Android phone, ran Android 1 point something, and I think I had to get Android 2 on it through a custom ROM. But eventually, all my phones, I ended up putting CyanogenMod on them first thing. Every time I'd buy a new phone, Cyanogen. You could find a CyanogenMod port for almost any phone that was out there. And it was amazing. CyanogenMod was great for Android. The problem is, they got bought. And okay, I get it. Oh, they forked it and it became Lineage OS. But the problem is, when CyanogenMod got bought, that's when I started noticing that the whole custom ROM thing just started to fade away. It didn't go away, but good luck finding it as ubiquitously as you did when Cyanogen was all over the place. So that was sort of the beginning of the end, and I want to say that Google bought them. I don't remember, but I want to say that Google bought them. And it wouldn't surprise me, because that would extinguish this pesky competitor using their own products. Oh man, I really do miss CyanogenMod, and all the custom ROMs for Android were great. I do want to say, while I'm thinking about it, one of the big problems I have with just Android ARM systems in general is they don't have a lot of the configuration stuff that you have on a PC is missing from ARM platforms. Excuse me. So, let me just take care of that cough. So, ARM, every single device, every platform, if you will, you have ARM processor cores, but every core can be customized. But beyond that, it's not like on a PC. See, I come from the dirty days of PCs when we had IRQs and DMAs and da-da-da-da. You had to flip a bunch of, you either had to move jumpers, little jumpers on pins, or you had to flip dip switches on circuit boards to pick IRQs and DMAs and IO port addresses, and you had to map all this crap into various areas. You know, you basically had to pick resources for cards manually, and it was garbage. I mean, you had to do it that way. That's how it works under the hood. Eventually, you got plug and play. Everybody's heard the phrase plug and play, but it's kind of become this weird arcane thing now where people say plug and play more just to mean you can plug it in and not think about it, period. But back then, it referred specifically to you can shove an expansion card into a PC and you don't have to set up IRQ, DMA, IO ports, none of that. If you got a Sound Blaster that was new enough that supported ISA PNP, you could set it up through ISA plug and play instead of jumpers all day long. It was great. The problem is that ARM is basically kind of stuck back in the days of the ancient PC. Every ARM platform, you have custom cores. Those custom cores also have all these general purpose I/O pins, GPIO pins, They can have all kinds of I/O buses, but they have, typically what they have is these GPIO pins that control crucial functions. There is nothing, absolutely nothing standard that tells an operating system that you just try to plunk onto the platform, oh, hey, this is what all these pins are, this is what they do, or whatever. There's no auto configuration information there. Every platform has to have this blob of platform-specific stuff called a device tree. Usually in Linux, it's a device tree. I don't know what Apple uses, but you have to have this configuration for every different ARM unit. You can't do that. I mean, you don't have to do that with PCs. A long time ago, in a Gateway 2000 factory far, far away, they started manufacturing Pentiums with PCI, and PCI took away the need to set all these stupid jumpers. These various standards like ACPI, DMI, whatever, they could auto-configure. It's crazy. It's like it can just go, here's all the things that need resources, and here's all the resources we have, and we can just sort of put all the resources where they need to be, and the user doesn't have to flick jumpers around or load a humongous blob that says, hey, this is connected to pin this, that is connected to pin that, beep boop, do-do-do. It was wonderful. ARM sucks. I like the low power thing, but ARM is just a pain in the butt, and I don't like it. I don't like that you can't take a running ARM system from one platform and just dump it to, say, the flash of another ARM platform and have it mostly work. I get like the whole drivers thing, but there's a lot of stuff that's common. But guess what? Oh, if it's on a different pin, you're screwed. So I don't like to even mess with that stuff. It takes a lot of the fun back out of it. Not having to flick configuration stuff around was a good thing. Having automatic configuration is a really, really good thing. Yes, it's nice to have manual stuff, but auto configure's good. And ARM sucks. I don't like phones because of that, because of the whole ARM blah. I don't like running Linux on ARM. I don't like, I have a Raspberry Pi, the original one, but, I don't like dicking around with the low-level stuff on ARM. So anyway, I'm looking forward to RISC-V. I want to see where that goes, but they really need to come up with standards for ARM where operating systems can be booted and auto-configure themselves in a standardized way. I have talked too much about this. What else you got here? If you know any way to root the Galaxy Xcover Pro, I don't know anything about that in particular. I only, frankly, care about rooting my own devices. I don't look up rooting on everyone else's. I'm not an Android developer either. I'm more of an Android critic. And, people are critics when they can't actually do things. So, what you got here? I got to go back up. Let's see. What is YouTube's reason for making shorts so dysfunctional? Can't rewind, can't control volume, auto-repeat. Because that's the way it is on TikTok. TikTok is what all the 12-year-olds know, so YouTube has to pretend to be TikTok so they can hopefully get 1% of the market share of really, really short, stupid videos where you talk about how much better you are than everyone else from TikTok. The same thing with Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels or whatever. It's any platform that provides 60-second or less vertical-only short videos with text overlay crap and looping garbage, whatever. They're just trying to be TikTok. They are desperate to take away TikTok from TikTok. I don't know why. I don't know why anyone likes TikTok. It's really, frankly, kind of annoying. The only good thing TikTok ever did was make it a lot easier for people who do bad things to share how great they think they are for doing those bad things, so we can see they do those bad things and then criticize them for the bad things that they do and say, hey, you admitted to it when you said you didn't do it. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I don't like shorts. I don't like shorts either, but the reason that I use it is because it does help to expand, and it's nice to be able to bang out 60 seconds of thought. That's the only reason I use it. I don't really like it, and I would really like to just not continue making them. Every now and then, if I have an important thought that is not worth a video, I might put one out, but they are not my preferred format by far. Hey, let's see how much brighter this light can go. Yeah, look at that. Nice and warm. Okay. What do you have here now? Windows CE vomit. I love that. Yeah. I I'm looking for anybody. Sega Dreamcast ran Windows CE. Don't remind us of the follies of our past, sir. Windows updates. You can't burn DVDs, MP4s to disk. You can't burn things because of Windows updates? Okay. Hang on. There you go. cdburnerxp.se. That's the burning software I use. I don't use Windows built-in burning crap. I use my own. It's a great burning program. It kind of reminds me of, what was it called? K3B? K3B under KDE. That's what I used to use. But CD Burner XP is pretty fantastic. So if you're having trouble, try that. Now, if you're trying to burn MP4s, those aren't DVD format. If you want to burn MP4s onto a DVD in video DVD format, you need to get DVD Styler, which I'll put in the chat too. But DVD Styler lets you take MP4s and assemble them into an actual video DVD, which you can actually burn direct from DVD Styler, or you can just generate an ISO or whatever. But that's what you need if you need to author, like put video into DVD format for watching on a DVD player. You can just dump data MP4s if you're just making a data disk. That's a whole lot easier to do. Hang on just a second here. Is my video stuttering? I know it's going to take you guys a while to reply, but is my video stuttering? It stutters sometimes in my preview over here, and I don't like it. Let's see. Phones with speakers on the back. Yeah, you know what? The speaker on the back thing always kind of annoyed me because I understand you can make a much bigger wafer cone that way, but you lay the phone down on its back and you can't hear it. Like, what's the point of that? Where's mine? Maybe you can see it. Maybe the camera will focus on it. I don't know, but there's the port. That's the speaker on my phone. It also has a speaker up here that it uses more quietly. I like my phone. It's a Motorola G Stylus 5G, I think it is. It's a nice phone. It's a green thing. I kind of like it. I don't really use the stylus much, but I like it otherwise. Now, you saw how wonderful the video isn't, but that's par for the course for a $150 phone. What do you expect? It's not $1,000 flagship. They're not going to put the best in, whatever. I don't care. I don't buy phones for the cameras. I mean, look, I could probably sneeze and hit a camera around here. Of course, I say that, and I'm looking around, and I don't have any other cameras in reach. I guess I just kind of made myself look silly. That's okay. Let's see what you got here. Okay, wait a minute. Faraway John, you said any Linux machines with a GPU. I don't understand that question. Technically, any Linux machine that you can plug a monitor into or it has an LCD has a GPU. So, I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking about, like, recommendations? I don't have the best recommendations, but if you're looking for a Linux machine in general, System 76 is a vendor that specifically caters to the free and open source market. People who are interested in maximizing FOSS on their stuff. System 76 is basically the vendor for that kind of thing. Ooh, that's some strong apple juice. Yeah, Raspberry Pi is too slow for 3D. You no kidding it is. Let me tell you about my original Raspberry Pi. There are two things I used it for. Now there's only one. The first thing that I started using it for was to run XBMC. You might or might not remember XBMC because it's called Kodi now. Actually, it may have changed names. I have no idea, but it changed names to Kodi, and I used it to watch... basically just to watch all kinds of video stuff on my TV. I didn't have a smart TV. I had a stupid TV. And I would just plug the Raspberry Pi up, and that was the main media computer for me for a long time. Then when that kind of fell out of favor and I got a smart TV and that kind of thing, that could play things on its own a lot better. And eventually I ended up on Plex. Not entirely by choice, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I have my complaints. But eventually, when I stopped using XBMC or Kodi on my Raspberry Pi, I wiped it and I put... I can't remember what I have. I think it still has Xbian on it, or Raspbian, one of the two. But it has a Debian distro, and all I use it for is to very rarely compile ARM versions, like just generic ARM packages for some of the open source software on my GitHub, and that's it. That's all it ever does anymore. In fact, I probably should turn it on again sometime soon, because I bet you that SD card is not doing too well. Just sitting there rotting. Little apple juice, you know. Good stuff. What do you got here? TikTok. Ban that from the network. Yeah, everything uses a stinking CDN. I don't know that you're going to have a lot of luck trying to ban TikTok. A lot of the problems with CDNs is that every major website uses them, period. And unless the website is so big that it uses all of its own CDNs that don't share an IP with anything else or whatever, there's not much you can do about it short of just banning anything that, you know, basically switching to a whitelist model. And that's not ideal. Trust me, I know. Wouldn't be my way of doing things. So let's see. Video Redo Suite. I haven't heard of that. Is Video Redo Suite, is that open source? You know I'm going to ask it. I'm going to look it up real quick. I really like recommendations from people. Video Redo MPEG Video Editor. I love it when it describes itself as an MPEG video editor. I always think of ancient stuff. That appears to be a paid product. Unless I looked at the wrong Video Redo Suite. Let's see. I want to be able to watch them on a DVD player, then you need DVD Styler. DVD Styler 3.2, it's open source, free. It is a little clunky, but that's partly because DVD is clunky. When I burn DVDs, let's see. Actually, let me see if I can show you. Maybe I can show you. I don't know. I hope you all don't mind. I think I want to show Exhale Dream how to do what I do in DVD Styler. It's a little bit complicated, this thing, but I'm just going to pick a basic template and see if I can pull it up here to where everyone could potentially see it if I actually had it up. Come on now. Yep, that's not ideal, but so let's see. So Exhale Dream, I'm gonna switch over here real quick and show you. Give me just a second. Okay, you should be able to see DVD Styler over here. Let me actually hang on just a split second. Let me flip that back. I need to go dig up something to put on this. Let's see what I can find for you that is not too annoying. It doesn't really matter too much what. Here we go, OBS recordings. I'm going to go ahead and drag this video file over and wait for a million years while it adds. There we go. Okay. All right. So Exhale Dream, if you can see, what I've got here is a basic template in DVD Styler. You can set this up, and it's got automatic scenes and everything based on using your various clips. I like to use this a lot. I run into some problems, though. If I click here, for example, if you bring up the properties for this preview, you can go to these previews and change the properties so that the preview for it comes up a little differently. Like meat, instead of slice, we'll squeeze it to fit. You can also pick whether it goes to the bottom, you know, basically left, middle, or right for X and Y axes. So see how I moved it down to the bottom right corner? I think that's the bottom right corner. But you can decide how the thumbnails for your previews come up this way. But let me show you the thing that I like to do with DVDs, because usually I'm usually just sticking some big like movie or something on it, or I've encoded someone's VHS and that's it. So here I'm going to nuke the menu completely here. This menu, it doesn't really matter what you put on this menu, but I'm going to go ahead and just nuke all of it. In fact, where's the stinking wallpaper? There we go. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need any of it, because here's what I'm going to do. Oh, SOS. Hang on, I'm typing. So this is the big secret. You drag your video file or files into DVD Styler. You do whatever. You can use no template at all. Right click the menu over here and hit Properties. Now, what I do is post commands. I jump title 1 and then I set the pause to 0 seconds. Okay. What that does is when you put your DVD in, it pauses for 0 seconds. Okay? Pauses for 0 seconds. -1 basically means infinite. So 0 seconds, and then jump title 1 says at the end of the pause period, post commands, jump title 1. So it's just going to jump straight into your title 1. And logically, it's just going to follow whatever you shove into this title set or whatever. It's just going to keep playing. So just keep feeding videos into this thing and it'll just autoplay. You don't have to do anything else. You're done. You hit the little burn button up here and tell it what you want to do. I always make an ISO and then burn the ISO myself, but see, you can just burn straight from the program. It's beautiful. I love this thing. If you hit undo, you might be waiting 15 seconds for the undo to actually undo. I have also had it crash on me several times when I worked on a complex project, but it's still free and open source, so, good enough. Anyway, I love it. I'm glad that something like that's available for free. Funny enough, Adobe stopped distributing their DVD Studio software a long, long time ago, so that's not very useful either. So it's nice to have a solution that'll always be there, and I'm pretty sure DVD Styler works everywhere. So anybody who wants to burn videos to video DVD format, that's the way to go. All right, what's next? What's next? Nero 6. Man, Nero 6. You're bringing back all the memories. I still have Nero 5. So if I have an old Pentium 3 with Windows 98 lying around, I can put that on it. Okay, what's this you're talking about? Okay. We seem to be out of things. What do you want to know? Is there a link where I can go download it? DVD Styler's on SourceForge. You should be able to find it just by typing DVD Styler. It's pretty easy to find. It should be the first thing that comes up. I'd be surprised if it was not. I'm just gonna, while I wait on questions to come in, I'm gonna finish this apple juice. I just remembered something. Hang on a second. Were any of you interested in knowing about my camera setup? Because that seems to come up from time to time, and I'd be happy to tell you all about it. This is one of my cameras, but I don't use it as often as that one. And I'd be happy to answer questions about that too. I do have some old videos. I encourage everyone here to go look at my old videos. I did make a highlight reel of some of my weird old videos that aren't tech stuff. Sony. Oh, Sony. Sony. Not quite. Have a nice look at yourself. No, that doesn't work, does it? Yeah. How to source parts that Dell won't sell to the public. eBay. My big tech industry secret for part acquisition is eBay. No joke. Almost everything I get that's not new comes from eBay or sometimes Amazon, but usually eBay. I don't buy batteries on eBay because they tend to have a higher rate of defects, but eBay is basically my secret for getting parts. So if you need parts, especially weird parts, go look and see if it's on eBay. Now watch out, because it defaults to global, and you need to pick, I mean, I don't know where you are, but I'm in the US, so I have to go and manually pick US only after I run every search. And I also usually have to pick buy it now, because I don't want to wait on an auction format. But yeah, if you found it on eBay and the prices are ridiculous, I don't know what to tell you beyond that other than just search around. There are some specialty sites out there. You could also just ask around in, there are forums dedicated to, it sounds like you've got a pretty specialized laptop. You may be able to find a forum, or even just on Reddit. You might find someone through Reddit. God, did I just send someone to Reddit? You won't find them on 4chan. That's why I didn't send you to 4chan. AMD will put Microsoft Pluton. I don't think Pluton is a huge problem. It's basically just a fancy TPM. My biggest problem would be if the firmware is actually controllable. The Pluton thing, if it acts basically just as a TPM, then I don't care as much, especially if it's possible to disable it or just not use it. If you have Linux, you can just not use it, typically. But if somehow Pluton gets access to your network adapter such that it can download its own firmware out of band, that's where I would have a problem. That's where I would say absolutely not. Not acceptable. I won't buy this stuff. I'll stick with old hardware. The truth is, the needs of normal people have been exceeded drastically by computer power a long, long time ago. In fact, the reason that I refurbish PCs that are like 12 years old sometimes and put Windows 10 on them, no less, I mean, it still works. But the reason I do that is that you throw an SSD in, say, a high-end, Core 2 Duo or a Core 2 Quad even, and it still works perfectly fine. Browsing is fine. About the only thing you have to worry about is maybe, high resolution doesn't work on YouTube because it doesn't have the decoding power. But video tends to be the breaking point for a whole lot of PCs that are older. Video decoding and video editing. Otherwise, I mean, you can still pull up, like Word 95 still writes Word documents, text editors still edit text. You can still use a DOS machine to write a book. It just, things, you don't need new hardware all the time until the old stuff breaks. And that's kind of where it goes, is that old stuff breaks. And at some point, the risk is too high and you can't deal with it. But the truth is that hardware is pretty sweet, and I've got stuff that's ancient that I'm still using. I have a netbook from 2006 that can't go past a gig of RAM that's running Windows XP, but I put a 30 gigabyte ZIF 1.8 inch, like, I'm serious, like this tiny iPod style, original iPod style, solid state drive by King Spec in it. And I can still use it. It's a little painful because of the processor to do browsing, but everything else is fine. I play old Windows 16-bit games on it, actually. Castle of the Winds, if you've ever heard of that one. Let's see. You use a 4th generation CPU in Windows 7? Yeah, that's great. I love that stuff. All the stuff that's immediately around me is fairly new, but like my gaming laptop that I used for video editing for years, it's a 6th gen Intel chip. That's the newest Intel chip I own and really plan to ever own. A ThinkPad 430, you the man or woman or whatever beep boop you choose to identify as, I suppose, because that's the way that you have to be these days, or you get stomped in the dirt by the law, right? Oh, please don't kill me. Let's see. Yeah, Reddit. I will say, Bogdan, Chinese sellers, they can be a little hit or miss, and shipping can take a long time, but, you know, you'd be surprised. Sometimes they work out pretty well, especially if you can find it on, like, Alibaba. I mean, it takes forever, but usually you at least get the product. But, you know, with anything coming from overseas, there's more risk. That's just the way it is. If you can find it for 10% of the price overseas, do it. You know? Let's see. Okay, you have a notebook with an i5 2520M, and you can watch YouTube 1080p. I'm pretty sure that's because the second-gen Intel Core i-Series integrated GPUs have that video hardware decoding. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and look it up. Maybe. List of Intel CPUs, and that'll bring up Wikipedia. And this is taking forever. I hate waiting on this. But I can go down here and find out for sure, just out of curiosity. This is what happens. I get curious and I just go digging. So, Core i5, second and third generation. It's Sandy Bridge. Yeah, I knew that. And what does Sandy Bridge have? Sandy Bridge has GPU technology. It does have QuickSync video. And Intel QuickSync on Sandy Bridge has AVC, encode and decode, and VC1 and MPEG-2 decode. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that you would be able, with your second-gen Intel Core i-Series, that you'd be able to decode AVC H.264 video. So yeah, a lot of video sites will work up to 1080p, no problem. Go past 1080p and it'll choke. But 1080, yeah, should be easy. Let's see. Biggest annoyance with old tech: electricity isn't dirt cheap. I understand. And that is one compelling reason to get newer tech. Hang on. Until recently, this... I don't even want to know what I just poured out of this. But until recently, this was my storage computer. This thing right here, this is how I got... this is... would you believe that I had an LSI storage adapter plugged into this thing? It's not showing up very nicely. Come on, just look pretty for the people. But this is a Celeron J4005. These are two 8 gig sticks, so 16 gigs of RAM. There's two SATAs floating around somewhere over here. But I put an LSI storage adapter in there to get 8 more, and I had 9 8 terabyte drives hooked up to this for like 64 terabytes of RAID 5. I know, RAID 5, you can yell at me all you want, I'm still going to use it. And, you know, it's got USB 3 on the back. It's pretty great. I swapped it out for a Ryzen 5 recently, but that was mostly just because I wanted to move back up to 10 gigabit. I was only using 2.5 gigabit at the time, but keeping up with a 10 gigabit card, plus the LSI was using the slot, so I needed more slots. So I was just like, let's just rebuild it. But the Celeron J4005 in that thing is a 10 watt, I think, TDP chip. So when it's idle, it's cool. I mean, it doesn't use much juice at all. I think I put my kilowatt up to it and got something to the tune of like 20 watts when it was just sitting there. And that was with the drives plugged up. Hard drives actually don't use all that much electricity just to sit there and do nothing, it turns out. Anyway, it's pretty neat. Let's see what you guys got here. But yeah, electricity isn't dirt cheap. Well, you can get something like that. It's newer tech, but it's not new. Now, I will say you can't get that because of the shortages. You'll have to get them used online. They were like $100 a board. But if you want something that you can just set there that has plenty of power, it's 4 cores or four threads, 2 cores, something like that. It was pretty great. I mean, it handled all my storage needs no problem, including hardware encryption and decryption. So, yeah. What do we have? Yeah. Oh, hey, Tennyson Case, and I don't know if you're still here, but thank you. I really appreciate the kind words. I'm trying to be logical and commonsensical. Although I hate the phrase common sense at this point, because it sort of implies that people are dumb because they just don't understand things the way you do. And if you understand things in a reasonable, factual, logical, grounded manner, if you can follow logical progressions, then that's one thing. But some people use the phrase common sense to mean you don't think the way I do. And that doesn't work for me. Gun control would be the big thing for that. I mean, do I really have to? Yeah. Okay. You had an ITX board? Yeah, I love ITX boards too. I can't show it to you, can I? I'd have to lift the camera. Crud. I don't want to do that. But I have the coolest little case down here. I have a node, a fractal node 804 there, and I've got this Thermaltake white cube down here on the floor that I just rebuilt one of my ITX things into. Have I ever messed around with de-googling a cell phone? I actually have not really done that. I know that you can, but the problem is I actually do use some Google stuff in my day-to-day life. I would like to explain really quickly. Some people get into the privacy game and they think that, I can be, I can go under the radar by limiting my footprint, keeping my profile as low as possible. I want to hide everything. Don't use social media, whatever. That's not true. In fact, the truth is that when you're trying to figure out what to pay attention to, you look at things that stand out from the noise. So if someone is doing nothing, if they exist, but they don't have any profiles on any social media, they don't have a website, they don't have any publicly known emails, if they're, their addresses are hidden, if they cover their tracks really well, then what ends up happening is these big government agencies that see everything, if they're looking at you, if they're not looking at you, but if they're looking around, the things that everyone else does, that's the noise. That, everyone has some stupid social media account somewhere. Everyone posts a few dumb comments to the internet somewhere. Everyone participates in certain ways in different capacities, but they generally have some participation out there. If you aren't participating in anything, that in and of itself stands out from the noise. It's a big black spot. It's like that void that we've seen out in space with the Hubble Space Telescope. It's this big empty section of space. It doesn't have anything visible in it at all. It stands out because there's nothing there. It stands out because someone's gone out of their way to not be there. That when you look at something, you know that this person exists. They know that you exist. Digitally, they know you exist. But if you don't make any noise, you stand out because you're not making the noise. Now, the other trick is some people make really loud noises, and that's how they stand out and get looked at. People who advocate for terrorism openly, or people who just say really stupid things on the internet, or, I don't know, show up at some building claiming that they're going to, save everyone. People who do really crazy stuff that stands out, that is newsworthy because it's rare and therefore stands out, they're like the head of the nail sticking up out of a wooden platform that needs to get nailed down. They stand out because they stand up, but you can also stand out if you're a whole. So just something to think about if you're talking about de-Googling your phone. To some extent, not using Google services at all can indicate to a large actor, at least, that can see enough stuff that, hey, this person is going out of their way to hide. Why? It can make you stand out. So live chat seems to have quieted down quite a bit. I wonder if I broke the internet. Let me look at the internet. There's 16 people that are for some reason still listening to me. So what you got there? Yeah, absolutely. Use old hardware. Use the crap out of it. The truth is that newer old hardware is still a lot more power efficient than you think. Like, no, you're not going to get the power efficiency of a brand new processor out of a 4th gen Intel chip. it's just not going to happen. At the same time, it's way better than, say, a Pentium 4. I actually have just a little bit of a personal vengeance against the Pentium 4. They use so much electricity to do like no work. They're so slow for how much juice they suck up and turn into heat that I kind of want to eradicate every Pentium 4 from existence just because they're so bad. In fact, a Pentium M, believe it or not, a Pentium M, which is a 32-bit processor based on the Pentium 3 architecture, not the Pentium 4. They made the Pentium M later, and it was faster and more efficient than a Pentium 4. It's ridiculous. YouTube is the only Google service you use? Yeah, YouTube is the only Google service you use. That's fine. YouTube, I use Google Maps. I do have location tracking turned on because, frankly, I don't go anywhere interesting at all. I usually go to customer places and stores. And I don't hide bodies out in the woods. But if I hid bodies out in the woods, what would I do? I would probably just leave my stupid phone at home and take a burner with me that didn't have any Google stuff on it. But, I wouldn't turn off location services temporarily. That'd be stupid. And I actually use Google's map timeline location tracking stuff that spies on where I go, imperfectly as hell, by the way, because it sort of acts as a time clock for me. I can tell how long I've been somewhere without having to clock in, clock out, so to speak. Yeah. An old server sitting next to me has 4,800 watts in power supplies. What? Oh my God. No, dude. No! You're hurting me. You're hurting me so bad. Oh, that's a lot of juice. It's like, that's... The thing that gets me about that is that, if I recall correctly, a standard outlet in the United States is rated up to 15 amps, 120-ish volts. It's like 1,800 watts, if I recall correctly. I suppose I could do the math, but I don't feel like it right now. So how would you even run 4,800 watts of power? You'd have to have three-phase power and some kind of massive connection. It's a little scary to me. I'm a little terrified to even think about it. Can you get a new phone that doesn't force... Yeah, you can. See, here's the thing. With new Android phones, you can go into the apps settings, and you can go to most of those social apps and such, and their frameworks and all, and you can actually disable them. You can kill them so that even though they're still pre-installed on the phone, they're not functional. I did that with a lot of them on all of my recent Android phones. So even if it's pre-installed, you can make it so that it can't run. There's something on my glasses. It's driving me nuts. Oh, man. 230 volts. Well, aren't you special? I guess I get to be American. Anyway. Yeah. Get a new Android phone. Just get... I would recommend, like mine. Mine here, this Motorola is $150. That's pretty much the sweet spot for a new Android phone. You don't get an amazing camera, but that thing's still got 2 cameras on the back, 1 camera on the front, a front and back flash, Bluetooth, blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic, and I can turn off all of those stupid apps that I don't want. Hard drives are expensive, or is it only me? Expensive is relative. How much money do you have? Let's go to Newegg Business, which is where I get a lot of my parts, and let's find out really quick how expensive hard drives are. So I'm a data hoarder, and what I'll typically do is I'll actually shuck hard drives that I get out of Western Digital Easy stores from Best Buy. That's the cheapest way to get big fat hard drives for dirt cheap. So desktop internal hard drives. Let's see, $15 a terabyte? Ouch. You killing me, dog. You killing me. Newegg Business. Come on. In stock. 4 terabyte and higher. Sorted by lowest price. Alright, so these are all 4 terabyte. I would never buy a 4 terabyte drive because that's too small for me now. So let's start at 8s. Let's look at 8. So if you just go out and buy a retail 8 terabyte internal drive, it's $150-ish. $150. What's that? That's, I'm pretty sure, I don't know why I can't do math right now, but that's 18.75 per terabyte. So yeah, you're right. Now I can't share my screen right now. I have all these browser tabs open, and I don't like to share my screen in the first place, but I'd have to set it up, and it's just a pain in the butt. You know what, though? Let me peel this tab off for you, and I can do that. Give me just a second. Oops, did I make a mistake there? No, I did not. Okay. Hang on. There you go. So that's Newegg Business, but here, let me see if I can get this to work. You can ignore all the terrible things that just came up. Hang on. So this is the secret to getting cheap storage right here. Can you tell I buy a lot of junk? Okay, just to be clear, if you're buying a Western Digital external, it's a Western Digital drive, and these high-capacity desktop Western Digitals are not shingled magnetic recording drives, so you're good. Why don't they have 8 terabytes? Why are the 8s not showing up? That's a little strange. It's being weird. Yeah, so an 8 terabyte is $160 here too, so I guess you don't really save any money that way if you go out and just get that. But for bigger drives, like that's a 14. God almighty, why are hard drives so expensive? But, you know, the funny thing is, you're talking about hard drives being expensive at these prices, but I was paying $100 for a Toshiba 7200 RPM 3 terabyte like 5 or 6 years ago. So, yeah. I mean, it's all relative. It's expensive, but only, you know, it depends on what you're getting. It's more expensive if you get a smaller drive. Anyway, I'm probably going to have to stop. I've been doing this over an hour, and I think it's calming down just a little bit. I think everybody's probably, there's more people watching now than ever, so of course I'm like, I'm going to go. But yeah, if you got anything else that you'd like to throw at me last minute, I'm going to ask. Yeah, my experience with Seagate has been that they fail a lot more often than other manufacturers, so I agree with you. My experience with Toshiba and Western Digital has been pretty much identical. The vast majority of drives don't fail. Oh, all right. It seems like everybody's okay with cutting it off at an hour and 10 minutes-ish, so I'm happy to do so as well. I appreciate all of you coming out, and I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. The live chat, something interesting happened. No, I haven't tried any RISC-V machines yet. I don't want to buy them, and they need to make a little more progress before I want to put money into another one. Although with all the YouTube revenue I'm about to get, maybe I should do that, and that might happen. When is the next video? I have no idea yet. Frankly, right now, what I've been doing, I wish I could show you, but I've been rearranging this entire house to center on doing more video production stuff, but I've been having to go through, move furniture, throw things away. It's been a mess. This desk is really cluttered. So, did anybody, why Android phone? Because Apple sucks. That's basically the only reason. If Apple offered a product that was good that you could sideload apps on, I might consider. And you know, if they weren't such an anti-repair, anti-consumer, massively overpriced hardware, just overall terrible company, yeah, then maybe I'd buy their products. But, you know, then there wouldn't be Apple. So there you go. Blah, blah, blah. Let me think. Did anybody care about my camera? I don't think anybody cares about my camera. But if you do, I'm going to have some videos about that kind of stuff. Oh, God, don't mention Windows Defender for not Windows. You're making me bleed. If I'm dead in the next video, it's going to be your fault. Yes, Apples have good cameras. So do expensive Samsungs. I'm not paying $1,000 for a camera. You see this camcorder right here? This thing is a 4K camcorder with freaking 25x zoom. 25x zoom, okay? And it shoots 4K video at 30 frames a second, and I got it open box for $492 like 4 years ago. So, no, I'll spend the money on a real camera, thank you very much. This camcorder saved my butt on more than one occasion. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this glowing... Look at this thing. I call this thing the Genesis light. I mean, it basically is just the light of God, right? Let there be light. Oh, and then Jody said unto his fanboys, are you sure that your boys, because you can be fangirls or fan elves, or, you know, I don't understand why I'm talking to a bunch of appliances that blow wind anyway, but whatever. All right, I'm clearly delirious. All of you individuals, I'm happy to have had you here. Have a wonderful evening, but I've got to call it quits. So take care, and I'll try to be funny for you later. Oh, before I go, yes, I'm still working on the user interface documentary. Obviously, moving furniture has taken some time from that. That's also part of the reason I've been doing shorts. No promises on the UI doc, but it will happen. Don't know when, but it will happen. Your subscription will not completely be in vain. Love you all. Good night. I'll play you out with some of this free public domain music. This song that I'm about to play you out is actually going to be part of a short film that I've done that I just haven't narrated yet. So I hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful evening. You're all great. Take care. And the genius played the wrong song.